Okay. See, I've got that little hole now. And through experience, I know it's about as deep as I want to go. You don't want to go so deep that you're going to get to the bottom, right? And you're also going to have to trim some clay off later. So you want to leave some clay. So when you get to the end, you don't have a hole in your pot. To test that, I can take this here, needle tool, and so you can kind of put your finger on it so I can see it's about ½ inch deep there. Maybe it's just like, and you know, that's fine. So I made a hole, but now I can just kind of fill it back in with my finger. Okay, so I'm going to build up a little bit of speed here. Okay, so now this also is a very critical part. This is where most of the time this is where it goes wrong. So we're still centered. The hole is there, the hole is centered, good. Now we want to open up the pot. And this is where you got to really slow down and be very patient. Okay, if I go too fast, what happens if I go too fast? My hand goes at this speed, but the wheel hasn't traversed my hand enough. Like I've only pulled half of the pot. So I'm going to pull it really slowly here and let it get a lot of revolutions. Let it turn many times as I'm pulling it. So see, maybe it takes you 30 seconds to just go those few inches. You want to go like half the speed that a snail is crawling, okay? Really slow, all right? Okay, so you can see, so now that I pulled it out, now I have a rim. The first thing I did was kind of go back to the rim and just kind of tighten up a little bit. All right, and clean up in there. So now, for our first project here, our cylinder, you want a flat bottom and straight walls. No curved bottom. We're gonna get to make bowls later that will have a curved bottom. But this we want a corner. We want a 90-degree corner right in here, right where my finger is there. Okay, you can see, like I go in, I really hit that corner and then define it, so there's no roundness. Now I'm going to do what we call compressing the floor, plus compressing the bottom. This is also a very important step. I'm going to add a little bit of speed here. Okay. And I'm going to start on the outside. Again, you see my hands are touching. You pretty much never do anything here with just one hand isolated. Everything should be a joint effort, okay? And I'm going to go from the outside to the inside. I'm going to be pushing down. But if I push hard down, I'll just go straight through, right? So you kind of have to balance it so that you're not going to make a big dent. All right, and you can see here that center part, I kind of squeegee off, like the little bit of the center that forms up. I mean, if you guys want to kind of rotate through or take a look up here to see what's happening, if you're curious. So see again, I'm going across, slow over to the center. You can see I'm making the bottom even and flat, right? You could also go from the outside, from the inside and out. There's really no hard rule on that one. But then I find I leave a little bit of a cone in the middle. Like that, see? So get the outside. So I'm gonna go back in. You can see you kind of collect that extra clay on your fingertip when you're done. Okay, it's also good. This you can also take a rib in there and help. This is actually the best nut. It'd be better if this rib had a flat bottom here. Oh, yeah, see, that's kind of catch here. So let's say I catch that a little nick, and there's a little hole in my lip nut. Those things will happen. So I'm just going to get back and kind of work that little bit of clay right there where that little bump was, and just kind of massage it back in. So everything's still fine there. Okay, so I think the bottom is compressed enough. And so at this point it should look kind of like this, right? You've got the thick wall, you've got your bottom. Now is the actual, we call it the throwing. The throwing is where we pull the clay up, right? Pulling it upward. So a little bit of speed, but you don't want to be going full speed at this point. Full speed was just for the beginning. Now it's going to be maybe like 70% speed, okay? So again, join my hands here. I'm going to go around the inside. I got some wet sponge here. You see, I'm going to make an indentation. You guys see that? You really make it. You can see where your finger has made the dent. The inside, I'm just ready to brace. So basically, I'm doing this. I'm kind of just squeezing in. It's like a clamp. It locks. You've got your thickness here set, and now I'm just going to pull this up. I'm really not going to move anything. I think my hands on the inside are going to stay braced. I'm just going to keep that thickness. And again, just be patient. I can feel it starting to dry out a little bit. I just want to add some more. You feel the friction. You feel it starting to grab. Right. And you're going to want to go all the way through the top. Almost as if there was more. Just keep going all the way through. And then release gently. When you put your hands on the clay or when you take them off, it's got to be gentle. You'll do all this work, it'll be really nice, then you pull your hands away and you give it a wiggle right there and throw it off. So again, right back to the lip. Just smoothing that out a little bit. And I'm going to go and get some of that extra clay and stuff that's in there. Just clean up a little bit of this. One of my little teachers said, get the snot off the pot. Like all this, like, you know, the extra slip on there. You can also see that I don't have any clay on this wheel head, guys, right? See this? It just kind of goes straight down to right there. That's what I want to see, a defined line. Sometimes the wheel, it just gets kind of squished, so then as you're throwing, your hands are riding on the clay down here. And it's very inconsistent. So no clay on the wheel head except right where your pot is. All right? Okay, so that's good. I haven't thrown it on a kick wheel in at least a decade, I'm not sure. It's kind of fun. Okay. So again, this might even be a little too fast for here. So I'm going to do that a second time. Put some water on there. Go back down, bottom. You can see I lean over so I can kind of see what I'm doing over here, right? You see my fingers are touching. And this is really tucked in here. I mean, that's very tight. Okay, so this is probably bigger than what you guys are going to be throwing today. But you can see with not that much clay, you can get a decent amount of movement. So that was 2 pulls. A good general rule is that whatever shape you make, even if it's like a vase that's this tall, you should get there in like 3 to 4 pulls maximum. What happens if you keep pulling, you keep adding water into your clay, and it just gets too wet, and eventually it's going to just be overloaded, it's going to collapse. So you don't want to overload it. Also, you can see there's no clay, right now the bottom, there's no water floating around down there. You don't want a little swamp at the bottom. Because what happens is then that water is absorbing into the bottom. You don't think it is, but it's getting wetter, and it's going to undermine your piece. Okay, so third pull here, last pull. Right, and this will now be the slowest one, because everything's just getting a little thinner, a little more fragile. I don't really want a lot of extra energy now. Make sure it's nice and wet. Right, and down the bottom. Okay. Nice. Okay, so again, first thing, I'm going straight back to the rib. And I like to take, just like you're pinching here, 2 fingers, put them on. Just let them kind of ride. Get used to that. Just like letting it just kind of flow. You're not even doing anything, okay? You're just kind of, you call it compressing the top. You're flattening it out a little bit. And let go gentle, okay? And just clean this out here. One rule is you can only touch your pot when it's turning. If it stops, don't touch it. Like, unless you're done, you're gonna mess it up. You know, don't try to like take a little bit off or touch a little bit. It's got to be turning. Okay, so now let's see. What's the other things here? What can we do? Okay, let's say the lip here. Sometimes they don't always end up perfectly flat. Or let's just say that this pot's just too tall. I want it to be a little shorter. So I'm going to take my needle tool here. I'm going to again do this and hold on. You can see you can hold there for a little while, right? Get nice and set up. And I'm going to put this right on my thumb. And I'm going to touch my hand here with my other finger so I'm all connected again. So it's resting there. Now I'm going to slowly push this through the clay until I feel it on the other side. And I pick it up, right? And there's a little bit of wobble in there. See that? That's fine. Let's go in. So you could do that a couple ways. You could kind of grab here, do a little bit of that pinch. Maybe there's still a little bit of wobble in here. So now I'm going to show you guys two kind of quick ways to just make adjustments in shape. You got collaring. It's from the outside here. Let's say I want to make the top smaller. I'm going to grab, it's like 4 points of connection. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just going to kind of take that up. And this helps sometimes center the piece, kind of pull its shape back together. It also helps you just change the form. So see, now that's different. I can keep doing that until it's closed, right? So the opposite motion to collaring from the outside is we call it bulging. And that's where we push from the inside. But the difference is the collaring is one steady motion. The bulging is going to be separated motions. Gotta make sure I'm wet in there. So see, I'm going to push at one point right here. Kind of see where that bulge is happening, right? I'm going to push that out, and then I'm going to stop. And I'm going to go below that a little bit, and I'm going to push, and I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to go maybe do 3, 4. So to get that line, that was like 4 different pushes. Okay, so now these guys come in. The ribs are great at kind of, just evening out all your little form on there, right? So let's do another collar here. We're going to get kind of a classic base form out of this, right? Right there. I'm going to kind of pull this over a little bit right there, maybe. Okay, so there's still stuff on the inside. If you're ever going to be closing it, you got to make sure you get your water out of there before you're done. Okay. And then it's still just a little bit too much, like all this slip on here. I don't really like that. Let's clean some of that up. Do that with this. 1, 2, get in here. The different shapes kind of meet in different points. Okay. And also we can see now that there's still a lot of clay down right here. So as we're getting close, and again, this is going to take a little while for you to need most of these, these steps here. Again, centering is going to be just the main project for today. But as you approach the end, you'll take your wooden knife. I like to kind of look down here, and I'm just going to, so form, we're going to be talking about form all semester here, the line of the pot. So I've got a nice form line, but right here, you can see there's a form break. It's going this way, and then it stops and it goes the other way. So you're going to want to look at your vessels and see where your form breaks are. You want to smooth them out, you want to make a more elegant shape. So, I can kind of see just right where I have to cut that because it's where the form breaks. I'm just going to go straight down here. Straight down. Again, many revolutions to get there. Open it up a little bit. And I take your needle tool there. All right. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. And then get back in there. So I think you guys kind of get the idea. Those are the steps, more or less, right? I didn't bring to get the stuff off, which will take your wire tool. You cut underneath it. There's a couple different methods. Actually, I'll show you that when we go inside here. I want to show you guys how to do this on the electric wheel. We'll go a little faster here, but that's kind of the base. Any questions here, guys? Okay, so let's just go inside. I'm going to do another one real quick for you.